All right, how's everybody doing today? I am joined today by Big T Bariatric, and like probably 1,000 people have told me to have you on and check out your channel. So I thought we would do so, but I want you to tell the audience, and they know who the fuck I am. Tell the people that are going to join and watch this who you are, your story, like stuff like that, where they can find you.
Hi, my name is Tony, and I have a channel on YouTube called Big T Bariatric, and I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. I used to be 671 pounds, and I have in the past year lost 200 pounds, got my act straight, and decided to get weight loss surgery to help me out through that. I was kind of in a situation where I realized I had to lose weight or die, and I chose the lose weight option. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So 671 pounds, you said?
Yep.
So you're now what, under 500, right?
Yeah, I'm 470 right now.
That's good. That's good. And the weight loss is still continuing at a nice pace.
It's slowed down just a little bit. My surgeon wanted me to get the sleeve surgery first, lose a bunch of weight, and then he wanted to do bypass. I still don't know if I'm going to do that or not.
The bypass is fucking tricky, man.
It is. Yeah, I'm really thinking not at this point. I think now that I've gotten this good, got this great steam ahead right now, I'm doing pretty good. It has slowed down just a little bit, but that's my own fault, you know.
In what way do you think it's your fault?
Well, I'm kind of like stress eating right now. I'm working full time. I'm about to go back to college. I'm doing YouTube, and so it's things are getting really stressful right now, especially in my family. You know, my sister and her longtime boyfriend just broke up, and just dealing with kids and stuff like that. It's just a lot of stressful stuff. And I sort of realized I was going back to my old eating habits, and I've caught it. I don't think I've gained any weight yet, but I'm really starting to make a plan to go back to eating how I did, because I lost 100 of my pounds before surgery. So I'm starting to like, okay, I need to go back to eating that way when I was preparing for my surgery and to keep the weight loss going.
Well, my suggestion is like, because I deal with a lot of people, and you're big. You were bigger than anybody I've ever dealt with. Just I always put that out there. But the largest we had was 550. Like the foods that got you that big, you should never eat again, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, like if you were a pizza guy or if you were an ice cream guy, like what was the food? Like if you could pinpoint it down to one food, what was it?
I'd say it was a lot of pizza. I could down a whole pizza, no problem. And just the easy stuff I can get off of DoorDash, order McDonald's or Burger King, stuff, you know, garbage like that.
You should never have that shit again.
Yeah, never.
Ever. Like,
yes,
I mean,
some of it, Sorry, I was just going to say some of it started too because I did start working in an office and they eat like garbage there. So there's always somebody bringing in donuts or fast food, or we're ordering Mexican food. And so I've had a little bit of a difficult time saying no, but I am starting to.
Yeah, the American populace in general eats like complete garbage, like absolutely complete garbage. It's very weird to me. Like I always think about this. It's very strange to me that, like, I'm the one that's considered like people say I eat weird because I don't eat bread. I eat almost no sugar, stuff like that. Like I'm apparently weird. I eat meat and vegetables, you know, like, but so I eat food and I'm weird, but people eat food like products, you know?
Yep.
So my biggest suggestion to you, man, is like one, you know, hydration, especially because you have the sleeve. The sleeve makes hydration hard.
It does.
That's actually my biggest issue with the bypass. Ask your doctors about hydration issues, because in relative term, it just reroutes your digestive system to a great degree to the point where there's less absorption for things like fluid, nutrients, and stuff like that. So the bypass is something very fucking serious, you know.
Yeah,
not that the sleeve isn't.
Yeah, the issues I'm having with drinking right now with the sleeve is you can't drink 30 minutes before or after you eat, or else it'll just kind of siphon your food through and it doesn't absorb anything. And you can only sip. You know, I can't chug water or nothing. I can sip it throughout the day, and that's it.
And about how much are you getting down?
I have a 25-ounce bottle, probably about 2 or 3 of those per day. It's probably not what I should be drinking at my size, but just that's about as much as I can physically drink.
Right, because that's the issue. But this also makes it and I'm not trying to coach you or anything like that, but like I try to offer help to anybody that comes on if they need it, but I would suggest you try to get that to it. I suggest you would try to get that to at least 120 ounces a day. Total fluid. If you drink other stuff besides like total non-alcoholic beverage, if you've had the gastric sleeve, you should never drink alcohol.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ever. The startling statistics about people that become alcoholics after the gastric sleeve is amazing. Like, I mean, amazing in a very, very, very bad way. It's a huge percentage of people because the alcohol is absorbed in your stomach differently. Like, I mean, it's crazy. But, and then again, just like I would stay away from all any processed food. Yeah. I mean, any processed food I would stay away from because it's just, frankly, I mean, that stuff is low nutrient value and you only have so much space in your stomach and your digestional tract to fit food. So you need everything to have a high nutritional value, frankly. You know, you can't nothing you eat can be just calories. And that's what they are. It's just calories, right?
Yeah.
So now when you started losing weight, is that when you started talking about the fat acceptance community and stuff like that?
It was kind of weird. I did start the program before, and I met with Sean Steele, if you know who he is. He's exploding right now. He started his YouTube channel talking about his bariatric surgery and stuff like that. And so I was looking for advice on how life was going to be after, because I was really scared getting the surgery like most people are. And so he really helped me out. And seeing how his channel was going, I'm like, you know what, it would help motivate me to have a YouTube channel myself. And so I started one. And as I was going on, I was like, you know what, this weight loss thing is a slow process. I can't talk about the same thing every single day. So I started doing more of my 600-pound life reactions and talking about my experiences with that. So I still do a lot of that. But the more and more that my channel was growing, I got more people saying, well, why don't you talk about Amberlynn Reed? Why don't you talk about this person or that person? And I had no idea that this whole fat acceptance movement existed at all. I didn't know who any of these people were. And I'm still learning. Like, there's people who've been watching Amberlynn Reed for 10 years. And I'm like, I don't know who she is. So the more that I've been like studying it and researching and making videos on it, I'm absolutely appalled that this attitude out there exists where people think it's okay to be fat. You know, concerning my own experiences with it, where I came up against the decision to lose weight or die. And so that's the big plug that I say about my channel is I tell people that every day. You're going to come to a point where your only decision is to lose weight or die. And there's no fat acceptance. There's no feelings in the matter. It's you have to do it.
No, the weird part about it is even just 3 years ago, the fat acceptance community was a very niche. Like I've talked about them since 2018. Shit, there's literally a documentary about them trying to cancel me, you know. But up until about like 3 years ago, it was very niche, right? And then I warned people. I was like, if this isn't quelled right now, like people pushing things like Tess Holliday and stuff like that on the cover of magazine as anything but a tragic story. This is going to get very bad, you know, like because if this gets mainstreamed, it's very productive for food companies to want to suggest people can be okay when they're fat. Very productive for them. I mean, the more food you eat, the more money they make, right? But also, it's very good for the pharmaceutical industry. Like it's extremely good. Like, and you know, I think your outlook on it, where like there comes a decision at some point in time when people just keep gaining weight. Or when people just are very, very heavy, like for a long time. Like it's weird. Some people, like a lot of people do reach like a maximum density. You know what I mean? Like they reach like 400 pounds and they can't like, they stay there for like 5-10 years until something severe happens. And then they either gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight. Like they'll stay at like 400 pounds. And I don't know your story about like if you were big for your entire life or anything like that. But like a lot of times, a 400-pound person will like break an ankle and all of a sudden that's 50 pounds added on. You know what I mean? Because like the recovery is long, they get even less activity. And even though, you know, for a 400-pound person can normally only just walk around a little bit, when you're 400 pounds, that burns a shit ton of fucking calories. You know what I mean? And when they can't, all of a sudden they get depressed, everything like that. And a lot of it is depression, those sorts of things. What led you to 671 pounds, dude?
I was one of those people who was always overweight my whole life, since I was 5 years old, as long as I can remember. Through my childhood, I went through mental, physical, and sexual abuse. And both my parents were very neglectful. They cared about partying more than they did about kids. And so they passed us back and forth between each other. My dad went in and out of jail. And so that allowed people to abuse us. And my mom would keep rooming with different people who would also abuse us. And so for me, I guess food was the thing that I found that really helped me through that at the time, which gave me some positive feelings about it. And so I still, throughout my childhood, I only got to about 250, 300 as I was approaching adulthood. I was still the big kid in school. But yeah, then my dad got out of prison. We moved to Michigan. Things were going pretty good. He got off the drugs and he was working, and I was living with him and going to high school and stuff here in Michigan. And so things were going pretty good. And then he was killed in a work accident. He was crushed to death.
Jeez, so sorry.
And from there, yeah, it was all about food from that moment on. I got like $70,000 of insurance money from his death. Guess where all that went? It's I blew it all on food, and just really grappling with my feelings over that. And I dropped out of college. I was going to college at the time, and I just couldn't function. I couldn't function at all. Just my whole life at that point was just pain and misery and abuse, and I just couldn't handle it. And so, just getting to a point now, I've had doctors my whole life telling me, you're not going to make it to 40 if you don't change. And here I am, 39 years old now. It's like, okay, I'm starting to see why they were telling me that my whole life. And I need both my knees replaced. I'm having terrible pain. Even sitting here now talking to you after losing 200 pounds, I'm still in terrible pain because of what I did to my body over all those years. And so, that's how I got that big. But people have been always telling me, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight. And I didn't take it seriously until those consequences started affecting me so bad.
And that's crazy. Like, I mean, I run into that a lot, really. I run into that with a lot of people, because I always say, people are like, well, you can't tell if somebody's unhealthy just because they're fat. And I'm always like, fucking gravity exists, people. And they're like, gravity existing in the same realm of reality as, structural limitations to bone, connective tissue, ligaments, cartilage, and stuff like that. Like, every step you take, physics exists, right? So every step you take, there's 4 to 10 pounds, and this is on a level surface. There's 4 to 10 pounds of pressure per square inch on your knee every step a person takes. So if you weigh, like, you've lost 200 pounds, you've basically removed 800 to 2,000 pounds per square inch off of your knees, right? But being 671 pounds, which is probably about, relatively probably about 470 pounds overweight at the minimum. Like 470 pounds overweight, you're adding an extra like 1,600 to like 4,000 pounds every step you take. It's just, it's a recipe to just destroy your knees, And I just wish that people would understand where I'm coming from. Like, and I mean, I have some weird questions I'm going to ask you here, but I'm seen as like, seen as a very divisive figure, because I think I'm one of the very few people that in our society right now, or at least I started the trend of, like, I'm just not going to lie to people about being fat. You know what I mean? Like, I was big before, not as big as you, but I was big before, and I know it was bad for me, and I'm very lucky, and I'm lucky that I don't have repercussions now, and I'm hoping that it didn't shorten my life, because you never know, because I was fat for over a decade, but I just, when society is as big as it is, because in relative terms, society is very big. Everybody's very, very big. Why do you think we're in such an area where people just want to completely ignore reality of this? Because being 300 pounds, like a 300-pound woman, like this shouldn't even exist. Like, I mean, like that, there's not a scenario where a 300-pound woman is healthy. Not a scenario. I don't care what blood work says or anything like that. So when you first saw my content, did you think I was just being a fucking asshole, or did you understand from your perspective?
It's really funny, because when I told people I was coming on with you, to be fully honest, I didn't really know who you were until the last few months. Like I said, I'm still learning about this whole thing. And I had several subs who were like, Big T, don't go on his channel. He's going to eat you alive and everything else. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go on there and talk with him. It's totally cool. Yeah. And so it's funny because I've had people telling me lately, Big T, you used to be really, really nice. You used to be the nice guy. And now you're getting really mean. And I'm like, I used to be nice because I was talking about my own journey and stuff. But now that I see this nonsense that's out there, where they're actually harming people by putting out these lies about what it means to be overweight, yeah, I'm getting mean about it. Yeah, it's ticking me off. Yeah, I'm getting frustrated because these people do not realize not only what they're doing to themselves, but what they're doing to their families and everybody around them, what it's like having that kind of addiction, and how, you can watch all these shows and how these parents are neglecting their kids, how their kids are serving them hand and foot because they cannot even get up and take care of their own kids. Their kids are taking care of them. It's absolutely disgusting what they're doing. And not only is it what they're doing to themselves, and a lot of people are like, well, live and let live, let people be who they want to be. It's like, fine, if you want to kill yourself, kill yourself. But it's not just you. I watched what I did to my own family because I was overweight, and friends and family who had to lift me up and pay for my stuff because I couldn't. I'm still struggling financially because I'm still trying to get on my feet from years and years and decades of being overweight. So I just see this trend, and it's driving me crazy because they don't know what they're doing to themselves. And I still got years ahead of me of recovery to overcome what I did to my own body. That's frankly, not even the psychological part of it. That's the physical part of it.
Yeah. Frankly, I think you should look at it as you have a lifetime of recovery. Like I'm a binge eater, so I consider it like alcoholism. Like I have my water sitting here. I've already taken my supplements. I have 4 beef patties. Like on the weekends, I have what's like emergency beef patties, because the weekends are really where I eat my carbohydrates. And I'm the type of person, if I start eating carbohydrates, I get that sweet tooth sometimes. So if for some reason, my supplements have been taking care of that, but if for some reason they break through, I want to make sure I have like an all protein something to go to quick and easy, just to reach and grab. So therefore it's not like I'm like tempted to eat shit, because I'm still tempted to eat shit, like 2 years, 6 months, and 6 days, 5 days, but I'm still tempted often, just to eat the crap. Right.
Yeah.
And as for the, like, eat you alive, it's weird because like, I find like, if people are, if somebody's trying to lose weight, I'm probably the biggest advocate. Like, I mean, and I'll be the first one to tell you. And like, when you do lose all this weight, there's going to be tons of extra skin, just be happy, consider it a badge of honor, unless it gets to the point where it's medically a hazard. Like if it impedes your ambulation, if the apron will be so big that it impedes your walking, or if you're constantly getting skin infections, don't get it taken off, because I've known so many people that have gotten that very painful, very expensive surgery that then relapse because they're laying on their back for a month because they've taken so much skin off a person. Like my one friend, Amanda Register from the show, My 2-Ton Family, they removed 85 pounds of flesh from her. I mean, it's just an enormous amount of fucking flesh, right? And the recovery was very, very, very rough for her. Like very rough. Like she almost died several times from the recovery from that surgery. That surgery, actually, the skin removal surgery for her was way, way, way more dangerous than and she's had both. She had to bypass, then she got the duodenal switch. So, but like, I'm a big advocate of anybody that's trying to lose weight and better their lives. I mean, I think that we all should be. My issue gets to be when people are in complete denial. And just like you said, like, I think what fat acceptance does is people know it's a social contagion. Like, we're getting fatter for a reason. It's because of the acceptance. It's the coddling of it. Like if I were to have come to you like 4 years ago and been like, look, dude, you're going to fucking eat yourself to death. You know this. Like, you knew it. Like, at no point in time does a fat person not know that what they're doing to themselves is bad for them. You know what I mean? I refuse to believe that, because you can feel it. Like, I mean, I'm sure you could feel it. Like, even when you would eat that much, you were finding pleasure from the food, but you weren't necessarily like, but you knew it was bad for you. It's like an alcoholic drinking the alcohol. They find pleasure from the alcohol, but they know it's bad for them. Right. And I just find it kind of crazy that, like, and I really mean this, like, to anybody that from his audience that's listening to this, because of that, if you were one of the ones that told him that I was going to eat him alive, I have no idea why. Like, I know that sounds fucked up, but I literally have no idea why, because I mean, I have coached thousands of people from, I probably coached at least 100 people from 500 pounds down to like 200 pounds in my career. The problem is it good that you reach 500 pounds? Absolutely not. But a huge portion is like, that's a huge undertaking to lose the weight. And I'm more focused on losing the weight and keeping it off. Right. And that happens through like you redefining who you are. Like one of the things I think you should do for yourself every single day, and I tell this to a lot of my bigger clients, is you eventually need to start redefining how you view yourself. Because a lot of like times when people get weight loss surgery, it's because they're kind of disgusted with themselves, right? Like you're kind of just like, fuck this, what the fuck? How do I fucking do this? Well, you went through the surgery and you're doing this shit. You need to think positively about yourself, because if you don't, then the negative thoughts can roll in, and your historic, treatment, like self-treatment for like negative thoughts has been food, so you need to start building positive mental attitude about yourself, and I just think that, it's just weird, like how society has gotten about this, where, I don't even understand how I'm the villain. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it would be interesting, because like you have a very interesting perspective. Political correctness, like the whole thing about it is basically, in my opinion, this societal lie. Like why, and it's because I don't have the perspective of being as big as you were. Why do people at 300, 400, 500, 600 pounds, why do they, like when somebody tries to placate them or tell them that they're okay, why do they listen? Like they have to know it's a lie. Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is they do gravitate towards people who will enable them. And it's much easier to just live that lie and tell yourself it's okay and you're happy. I actually said that one time. I'm like, when you're that big, you're not happy. You're miserable every single day. You're happy with the food because that's what's giving you that pleasure, but you're not happy. And deep down inside, you know that. And I've had a few people that are like, Tony, I'm 500 pounds still, and you're just lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else saying you can't be happy because I'm happy. And then this other person had a YouTube channel, and I go on her channel and she's talking about nothing except how miserable she is and how much pain she's in and how depressed she is. And I'm like, how are you trying to tell me that you're happy when you're absolutely miserable? So, I mean, it's absolutely lying to yourself, and you're going to gravitate towards anybody who's going to lie to you, because that's easier than accepting that you need to change. It's easier to tell everybody else, hey, it's your fault. You're the one discriminating against me. You're the one being a bigot. You're the one being a fat phobe. It's all your fault. You're causing me to do this. I actually did a video a few days ago where somebody was saying that, it wasn't people's fat causing diabetes and all these diseases. It was actually the way that society treats people that's causing all this. I'm like, how can that cause diabetes? Diabetes is caused because of, your pancreas not able to keep up with the amount of sugar that you're eating.
Right.
That's what causes diabetes, not because of the way society is treating you. I mean, it's just absolutely BS nonsense that they're putting out there, because it's easier to go that route than to actually change and to make the right choices in your life and to get rid of your food addiction.
I think that society has gotten so soft about a lot of topics, because here's my thing. Even if people disagree, everybody should, we have to live in some sort of reality. You know what I mean? And when you get people talking about like Tess Holliday is, one of the is one of the most well-known names. The very second she was on the cover of Shape magazine in 2019, where it said 300 pounds strong and fit, right? Like, what the fuck? It's just this weird societal thing where, and then when you speak, and I'm very, very versed in this, I want to get your experience on this. The pushback from the fat acceptance community is not only irrational, but it is just fucking vicious. I'm sure you have a different perspective than me. What pushback have you felt? What difference have you felt from them, and feedback you've gotten from them from being your size and starting to lose weight? How has those interactions been?
To be completely honest, I have not had any backlash yet. I think my channel is still kind of small. Like I said, there was that one person and she made a video about me and I just chose to totally ignore it. And it went away and she blocked me and I blocked her, and it's not been a problem. But other than that, I haven't had anybody really come at me yet. And I haven't had any, especially any of the big ones, or because I do a lot of TikTok reaction, fat talk reaction stuff. And yeah, nobody's countered me or come against me. Just a couple people saying you're being too mean or this or that. But I think most of them were subscribers or saying, oh, I'm going to unsubscribe now because you're just being too negative all the time or whatever. And it's like, okay, whatever.
Well, it's pretty negative though. Like, I mean, like I understand, like, it's pretty negative. Mm-hmm. Like where we're at in a society is we're pretty fucked. You know, like, I mean, people don't get it. Like, there's the time for nicety, and I say this fairly often, the time for nicety was over years ago, right? Like 2018, the CDC statistics showed that the average woman had a waist to height ratio of like 0.61. Like, that's technically severely obese. Yeah. That's the average woman in America. We're over the tipping point, right? Like, chronic illness and disease is the vast majority of burden on our healthcare system. And I mean, I always bring this up that, like, we just went through a pandemic where the excuse was we have too many immunocompromised people to allow people to be free. And we've just gotten bigger, fatter, people are drinking more even, and everything, right? And I think the time for niceties is frankly over, like, if the person's trying, everybody should support every person losing weight. Yeah. Like absolutely. Like, because they're helping society, themselves, their family, their friends, everybody. But when there's not really a nice way to counter when people like say, like, just let fat people be. Like, to me, that's cruel. Like, so you want me to let them eat themselves to death, like that? Because that's basically what you wanted, but that's where that ends up every single time. Is it ends up the person eating more and more and more and more and more, especially these addictive foods. Sugar and ultra processed carbohydrates are massively addictive, and people don't want to admit it. He's senile. What the fuck is going on? I keep my eye on the comments. I have no idea. Anyway, but the biggest thing to me is, like, when people say that you're being mean about it, like, I can see where you take it personally. Like, when especially because you're a person right now that, like you even said, you're sitting in pain. Because I'm sure there's some lower back issues going on and stuff like that too, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, people want to ignore the outcomes of this. Do you go swimming, by the way?
There's not a pool near me. The closest one is a YMCA in Flint, which I don't want to go there and go swimming, but there's not one near me yet. There is one, but it's like $80 a month that maybe I'll be able to afford here in the near future. But
that trust me on this, especially because the knees thing, that'll be your activity, bro. Okay, like that'll be your activity, because you'll be able to consistently do it without stressing your knees.
Yeah, I love swimming.
Well, I mean, like I often talk about, like, pitching a show where, I mean, it would be based around, like, getting big people into the pool and helping them with their food, because that's the cure right there. That's the start of it, But so where do you see it going? Like, you said you haven't regained weight, so you're kind of in a stall right now. What are you doing about that?
It's really me realizing what I'm doing. Now that I've educated myself, I'm not gonna believe any of the lies I told myself before. It's kicking back into gear, just saying, wow, I'm stress eating again. This is what I did my whole life. And I was very much an emotional eater, where if I was sad, I'd eat. If I wanted to celebrate, I'd eat. And I'd call my friend and be like, hey, I got a new job. Let's go eat, type thing. So I was like realizing those things. And I actually made a short about it yesterday, where I found myself, my appetite has been increasing. And I found that because I'm working in an office now and I'm freaking bored, like, I was boredom eating. And so that's my weight is stalled out. There's still only so much I can eat after having sleeve surgery. But I was still just eating the wrong crap because I was bored. And so it's really coming to a point of realizing why I was eating certain things and saying, okay, I'm not really hungry right now. I'm just bored, or I'm very sad, or I'm stressed out, so I'm going to go eat something. No, maybe I should do something fun, so I relieve some stress a different way, or celebrate a different way. When I lose weight, like they told me after surgery, if you lose some weight and you want to celebrate, go buy some new clothes, go do something fun. Don't go out and eat to celebrate. So it's really about catching yourself, because this is going to be a lifelong journey. Like anybody who's ever had an addiction, it's going to stick with you your whole life.
Exactly.
You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to find moments where you're back stress eating or whatever. You're probably going to gain a couple pounds again. But that's when you got to catch yourself and realize what your behavior was. Have friends too who can hold you accountable to it and say, well, you're kind of eating a lot there, buddy. And, not being shamed to the point where, well, I'm not going to let anybody tell me anything negative because, I can't handle it. No, you need people to hold you accountable to it.
Yeah.
And it's
to me, it's one thing to be worried about, like, the shaming thing, because, like, hey, I notice you're eating more food. What the fuck? I mean, that's literally how I put it to people, I do think that, like, friend circle wise, anybody that ever enabled you from before likely should not be your friend anymore. And I know that's, people hate hearing that shit too. Like, it's been proven that things like everything from the whole transgender movement to things like obesity are societal contagions. People that hang around more people that are morbidly obese tend to all gain weight together.
Families too.
Families are worse because it's taught habitual habits, right? It's taught habitual habits. It's taught habits, right? But even that's one of my biggest reasons, like, why I think Lizzo and Tess Holiday and all these fat acceptance creators are horrible people, because they literally call themselves influencers, right? And so they're influencing their audience to fucking be fat. It's horrible. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I'm somehow the villain. But you're gonna, like, most of the time you need to change your entire friend circle. Anybody that's ever, like, enabled you, like, if you were if you were almost immobile in a chair and somebody brought you food, that person probably shouldn't be, like, you should probably, like, not dislike them, but them being around you all the time is not a great idea. Because it's just an easy way to fall back in, right? So you said you caught yourself. What's the plan moving forward for you?
It's just being more mindful of the types of foods that I take to work. Instead of relying on what they have there, I'm bringing vegetables to work. Finding better sources of protein. Because I did try keto, and then I found out, like, I was, because I was working, 9 hours a day, then coming home and almost up till 1 a.m. editing videos and stuff for YouTube. It's like I didn't have time to cook myself some chicken or whatever. So I was getting, like, Life Cuisine keto pizzas and keto snacks. And I'm like, all that stuff was garbage. And I think I put on weight doing that, and my appetite shot through the roof. And I'm like, anytime I would eat one of those things, like, I felt really drowsy and tired. And I was like, yeah, that's got some sugar in it, because it's, affecting me physically. Instead of giving me energy and helping me stay full, it's making me more hungry and it's making me tired. So it's like, all that garbage I shouldn't have been eating in the first place. I need to make the time to eat right, or else it's not going to stick with me. So making the time to eat right, making sure I'm buying the right foods, and just being more mindful again about what I'm doing, and making sure that I'm living the right lifestyle.
If to anybody out there, if you're going to eat keto or carnivore, eat keto or carnivore food, not food products. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you've had an addiction to pizza, keto pizza is still pizza. It causes bad behaviors. You know what I mean? It just does. It's just not. It's not a smart thing. Like, I wouldn't eat, like, an off brand of peanut M&Ms, because they're my trigger food and I'll binge, so I just stay away from anything that looks like them, I do think that you're about at the year portion of having the surgery. You had the surgery and you're at the year right now, right?
I had it back in October. So
October. So you're coming up on a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's normally like the very extreme weight loss for the first year. And then it does slow down. So I do really think that like now is a very kind of crucial time for you to make sure that like you've got your shit straight. So one of the biggest suggestions I can make to you is, you mentioned two things. You talked about time and you talked about staying up late. You should be making sure you're getting your fucking sleep. Okay. Like absolutely. Because YouTube's important, bro. Like I get it. Like, I mean, and I think you're building a cool community and a nice audience. But if YouTube impedes your physical health, YouTube should go. Okay. Don't replace one thing with another. Is what I'm trying to say. Right. But also, like buy yourself an Instapot or something like that, and just I'm doing a pork butt today. Literally 5 minutes of prep, 3.5 hours in there. It'll be shredded pork that I can put barbecue sauce on or anything like that I want for the week. It'll take me like 10 minutes of prep. You know what I mean? And it can even be done like if you buy an Instapot, you can even have meals ready for you. Like toss them in the morning before you go to work, and it's made for you on the way home. So little things like this, and you can always you know how to get a hold of me. You can always, if you have questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me and ask. Okay. But I do think the more weight you need to lose and the more specific you need to be, because the surgery, like I said, buys like 1 year of time, the more you're going to have to depend upon you cooking your own food. I don't know people that lose weight successfully and keep it off that don't cook their own food. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just because it's very, very, very hard. Like they put so much shit in the food, dude. Like, I mean, even when you try to eat healthy, unless it's like one ingredient, unless it's like, this is an apple, and even then you got to watch what they spray the fucking outside of the apple with, So I just think that that should, like, if you're going to take a next step, and to anybody out there, if you're very serious about your weight loss, you should be eating 90% food you've cooked yourself in your kitchen, and I know it can be hard because people run out of time, but things like an Instapot, I grilled up like 10 burgers yesterday. Like they're not the most delicious things, like because I have to reheat them and shit like that. But I mean, you got to cook your own food. You just gotta, because you're gonna, and especially if people have made poor decisions with food before, like. When the decision-making process, when ordering food or when just even in the grocery store, when you're viewing something, it's like always like if you view something that is pre-made and quick to cook, it's normally never good for you. Ever, So
and that's really something that I've been learning too. Now that I've lost this weight, eating natural, and then starting to kind of go back towards it, then you kind of get a fresh perspective of what it does to your brain, what it does to your body too. So that's definitely something I'm like, wow, this is making me feel like garbage. Like I felt like this all the time. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Right.
So that's something too. If you've been eating that way your whole life, you're not going to notice it. But when you stop and you get healthy and you lose a bunch of weight, and then you kind of go back to it, you're like, wow, yeah, this stuff has chemicals in it that's messing with my brain, making me want to eat more, making me tired. And food shouldn't make you feel that way.
No, it absolutely shouldn't. So, like run me through like a whole day of yours, like as someone like weight loss surgery, and you're still, because you're still 470, in the 470s. So run me through like a whole day. Like what does that look like for you?
I might get up about 6:50 in the morning and I get ready for work. I have a cup of coffee, shower, all that stuff. I drive to work. I work from 8 till 5. We have an hour lunch in there from noon to 1. And then so after work, I come home, and depending on the days that I film, I'm starting to film during the weekend now. So I'm going to be free during the weekdays to not have to be up till 1 in the morning, like you said. So I've already made a couple videos today that'll air next week. But
Smart.
what I was doing is I would probably get home, try to grab something quick to eat, and then I would either start filming or just kind of relaxing on the days that I didn't have anything to do, and just kind of living, just doing normal things after that.
How often would you, how much would you say you're on your feet or walking in a day?
Not nearly enough. Because I do work in an office, so I am on my butt all day. And
well, because here's the thing, like what you're going to find is, and the hard thing is while you're still this weight, if you already need knee replacements, it's going to be hard to find activity that you can do that's going to in any way not like, because it's you and this is why I always tell people to try to catch it before it gets out of hand, because you reach the stage where getting healthy is painful. Right? When I always have this thing, like you should have normally weight loss that happens through extreme pain or extreme restriction doesn't last, right? But you're at a stage now where the pain's kind of constant no matter what, but it still builds the association with physical activity and pain. I mean, I don't know. There's upper body stuff you can do that would get your heart rate up a little bit to help burn some calories, but you should be consistently doing that. But also the pool thing again. I think that you should be trying to dig out like an hour worth of time a day for like 3 to 4 days of the week that you will eventually be able to spend in a pool. But until right now, even if you could just do some upper body, small dumbbell exercises with minimal rest, just to get your heart rate up, I think would be good for you every day. Have you gone to a physical therapist?
I have before. They were kind of limited for somebody my size on what they could do. So I did try walking a few months ago, and it killed my knee so
Very
bad.
painful,
I was in agony, so I stopped doing that. So definitely finding a pool or something like that would probably be the best way to go moving forward.
I do suggest when you lose about another 50 pounds, visit a physical therapist. Like when you get below 450, I would visit a physical therapist, because what people don't understand, when you lose that tremendous amount of weight, like 200 some pounds, your center of gravity actually probably shifted.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and walking is actually different, especially because you don't practice it that much, because you're in pain when you're doing it, right? So most people that weigh 400 plus pounds, before they should even visit a fucking personal trainer, they should visit a physical therapist.
Yeah.
Because when you're that big, there's even your walking gait's definitely altered, because like you probably have to walk with your legs a little out, which is one of the reasons why your knees are shot too.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that too, because this is a long process that I don't think people understand. I think you have a very good mindset with it, dude. Like, because this is something that you can if you revert back now, that's it. I mean, that's it. But I really think that I think you've got like a good outlook. I would, like, my personal suggestion, I would put off the duodenal switch as long as fucking possible. Because that changes everything about how you can eat, like, forever. There's certain, your body doesn't process fat as well and things like that. And it's, one, expensive, but two, it's a dangerous fucking surgery. What questions do you have? Any questions for me or for the audience? Or I thought we'd do a little Q&A for you, or for you from the audience too.
Yeah, that's fine. We can open up questions from the audience.
So anybody have any questions for him? Please let me know. What about your journey? What about this journey so far have you found to be the most rewarding and the hardest? Two things.
Really, the hardest part about it is I do get terrible acid reflux at times. There's times I woke up in the middle of the night literally vomiting stomach acid because of I lost 90% of my stomach, so it still produces tons of acid. And so I've learned not to eat at least a good 5 hours before bed, which is something people shouldn't be doing anyways. But the most rewarding, I would say, is I did claim back my life. I mean, I'm not done yet by any means, but the fact that I can go get a job, that I can do things I couldn't do before. I'm not stuck in my bed all day long. I am cooking and cleaning for myself. I am doing things that I couldn't do before. I tell people all the time, I've been single my whole life. I've never had a girlfriend, and I'm almost 40. And so that's things I'm starting to get people like noticing me more and stuff like that. So that's something in the future I'm looking forward to, going back to college, starting a career, which is things I should have done 20 years ago. So I do think of it in terms of I wasted 20 years of my life being fat and stuck in a bed. But and those were the best years of my life, of course, when you're in your 20s and 30s. And so thinking forward, it's like, okay, now I'm starting my life at almost 40, and it's a sad thing to think about, but where I was to where I am now, I'm very, very encouraged about where I'm headed, and I'm super excited about my future. So yeah, I definitely don't tell people to take weight loss surgery lightly. Don't just get it because you need to lose 100 pounds. It's something, if you are on death's door and it's the only thing that's going to save your life as quickly as possible, then you should get it. But yeah, other than the acid reflux thing, it's absolutely changed my life for the better.
Well, interesting. You just reminded me of a question I wanted to ask you. The American Medical Association has recently just approved weight loss surgery for kids as young as 12 years old. What do you think about that?
I don't think they should do it. They are still at an age where their metabolism is super high and the obesity hasn't really conquered them that badly yet. They could still exercise. They could still do things. Coming from a fat kid, I know it's difficult telling a kid to exercise. I was forced to do cabbage soup diets and,
God, the cabbage soup diet. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, forced to get on exercise bikes. And I know some of that leads to the trauma that people join the fat acceptance movement and they say, well, being a fat kid was absolutely terrible experience. Well, it's like people have well-meaning feelings towards that. They're trying to help you. They know being overweight's dangerous. And when you're getting bullied because you're fat and everything else, it's like, yeah, your parents especially see that and they want to help you. They just don't know how to help you. So I think educating parents and educating kids is the best way to do it. I've done several reactions of like Dr. Phil when they bring on parents whose kids are 400 pounds, 500 pounds. And it's like they totally enable their kids, bringing them home Happy Meals and this and that. It's like you got to educate parents on how to properly feed their kids or else they're going to keep gaining weight. They're going to have to learn how to say no to their kids and get them outside and exercising. And if they do play video games, limit that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying take it totally away from kids because that's what kids are going to do. Get them away from the screens and stuff like that. Like there are ways for them to lose weight on their own. They don't need weight loss surgery, again, unless you're facing imminent death or debilitating circumstances as a result of your weight. Like, don't take it lightly. Don't give it to kids. Kids can do it on their own if they know how to do it.
And actually somebody just said like you can't change a kid's life like that. They won't understand the ramifications. I completely agree. And I thought what you just said was amazing. Like I couldn't have said it better myself. One of the things I would like to add is that most of the time when you find a fat child, the parents are fat. Right.
Yep.
So they'll put the kid on a diet that they're then not on. So, which I find radically crazy, frankly, again, it's if a child is fat, it's because they're ingesting a lot of processed food 100% of the time.
Yep.
Like no child with a child's metabolism, well, not 100%, I'd say like 99.99, because there are some kids that do gain a little bit extra weight because they like very severe cases of hypothyroidism, stuff like that. But that's more of a case of like, okay, let's get this medically managed through some sort of medication, because sometimes that is necessary in order for them to get going. But I know people that have hypothyroidism that are, like literally like almost too thin, where they take their medication and they just work out and they eat whole foods. I just think that when you look at these things, like the whole, like even Ozempic, like so many, like you hear people just going on Ozempic and putting kids on Ozempic, like as young as 12, 13 now on Ozempic. And while I understand that like these medications do actually blunt people's hunger, because most of the time it makes them sick. The huge side effects, they want you to be on it forever. But at the same time, if you don't couple this with whole food nutrition, that's where it falls down. And I just don't, I don't see the push for it. The USDA recently had at their one research center, I did a video about this. They put out that they can make a healthy diet with 91% ultra processed foods. And to me, that's just like, that's complete negligence. You know, when we're talking about children, oh, wait, this is a good one. Tony, what words of wisdom would you have, would have helped you specifically as a child? That's a good one.
I'm actually not sure with that one. Because I think a lot of it was because I had neglectful parents and money was always tight, and it still is. But so the things that they would make is a giant pot of spaghetti. And as I was getting bigger, I would be eating my sister's scraps off her plate, you know. So to actually have somebody discipline me back then and make sure we had nutritious food, like I'm not going to put it all on my parents or anything else. Like, again, I'm responsible for what I eat. But when you're a child, where's that line where it's your parent is responsible for making sure that you're taken care of? They know how to help you stay fit, making sure you're outside playing. And that's the thing. I was always a very active kid. I was playing football and swimming, and I was never inside the house. But yet I remember one summer I gained 60 pounds, and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Well, I was binge eating. And my parents didn't really know what to do about that. And so again, they tried at times, but then again, that was their whole way of parenting was, let's make a big pot of spaghetti because it's cheap. So I don't know what would have helped me as a kid, but certainly as an adult, knowing what I know now about addictions and how they start and perpetuate and stuff like that, like maybe some of that might have helped me when I was younger, maybe in my 20s and stuff like that, helped me realize why I was overeating, why I was turning to food for comfort and stuff like that.
Yeah. I wanted to say something real quick. This person, like, hyperthyroidism would be opposite. Yes, I actually misspoke if I said hyperthyroidism and very thin. I've been hypo. So I've got several clients that are hypothyroidism that are medically managed that are almost too thin. Like, I mean, I actually am like, they're almost terrified of gaining the weight back from being hypothyroid, that it's like it works in a different way where I have to actually help them, like, remind themselves, like, hey, you need this amount of protein, you need this amount of this, because they'll do anything not to go back to being very big from hypothyroidism. Jazz said, I did the sleeve myself. I was 205 pounds and now 175 pounds in 2 months. Jazz, that's awesome. For an adult female, I would argue that if you were gaining weight at 200 pounds and you could not control your eating behaviors, I would argue that was possibly in the area of opportunity for you to have it. I do think that's jumping the gun just a little bit, because you were probably only 60, 70 pounds overweight. And while that's basically like 270 pounds for an adult male, I do think that, like, just 25 pounds in 2 months is what you could probably expect. That will slow its way down, but don't just depend upon the surgery to do the work for you. Make sure you're eating whole foods. Make sure you're getting good healthy habits and stuff like that. Okay.
Do you mind if I kind of interject on something you were saying earlier? You're talking about Ozempic, and Ozempic is like weight loss surgery in a way. It is a tool.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can have all the tools, you can have all the fad diets, you can have all the stuff that you want. The only thing that's going to help you lose weight is by eating whole, nutritious foods.
Yeah.
And there's going to be nothing else that's going to get you there. So you can say that, oh, I'm going to take Ozempic. Okay, well, if you get off of it, you're going to gain all the weight back. They want you enslaved to that for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And if you get off of it, you're going to gain the weight back. So if you're not learning how to eat the right way, if you're not trying to figure out how to overcome your willpower, which I talk about therapy all the time, I'm like, that really helped me. Helped me overcome what I was dealing with throughout my childhood, all the pain and everything else. Once I realized my behaviors and everything else, I was able to figure it out in my own life. And I was willing, and I'm still trying to figure that part out. Like I said, I started stress eating. Okay, you're going to have those moments.
Right.
But if you're like leaning on the surgery, if you're leaning on the pills, It's not going to help you because you're not figuring out the real problem. You're not figuring out what's causing you to overeat in the first place. It's like putting a Band-Aid over a gaping wound. You're not going to heal nothing. Right. You're not going to solve the issue by doing that. Again, I'm not saying don't get Ozempic, don't get weight loss surgery. I'm not saying that. But if you lean into those as being the solution to you losing weight, it's not going to be. It's not.
Yeah, that's what we for my supplement No Morbidity. That's what we even say. Like, it's a tool to buy you time to build healthy habits in a state of diminished hunger, because that's most of the time people fall off diets because they get hungry, and they get hungry for multiple reasons: stress eating, all sorts of stuff, But let's see. Here's another one. Is there any positive role model you look up to for inspirational movie or motivates you, Tony?
Lizzo.
You look up to her?
No.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, no. as what not to do. I could understand that.
No, I really don't look at other people for inspiration in terms of, because it seems like everybody out there, like the whole movement is growing towards fat representation and everything else out there. So this is really something that I did on my own, that I needed to realize that I had to get myself right first. And, I didn't really find anybody out there that might have, maybe some of the people on my 600-pound life who've lost weight, maybe Shauna Steele, who did get the surgery and lost a lot of weight. I was looking up to him quite a bit when I started to get my surgery. So people who've gone through it and done it. And that's why I put myself out there now with my channel, helping people get the weight loss, telling them they need to do it. And also like interjecting my own brand of humor and just being honest about the whole situation. And so a lot of people say they look up to me now, which blows my mind that people look up to me and find me to be an inspiration. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like other than those who have gone through it, I really don't see too many people right now to look up to, when most of them are joining this movement.
Right. And I do think that that's being pushed to a certain degree by the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is paid for by big food and big pharma. Like that's what I say that all the time. Like, people should really understand this. Like, the ones that are pushing this narrative, like fat acceptance became mainstream. Like I said, 3 years ago, it was kind of a niche thing. Now it's like, the fat phobia is actually in the news. I was like, what the fuck? It's a made up fucking term, you fucks. I mean, it's so ridiculous, right? But, I agree. Tony, if there was anything you could change along your journey, what would it be? What would you do differently?
That's a good question. What would I do differently? I would have not waited so long to do it, I guess would be the main thing. I would have listened to people who were warning me about being big and what it would do to me, especially doctors. It's very easy to feel bad for yourself, have a pity party. Oh, you're just making fun of me. You don't like that I'm fat and blah, blah, blah. You don't accept me. It's like, no, it's not about that. People actually care about you if they try to sit you down and talk to you about something. And that could be any part of your life. Like if they see you going down the wrong trail, like people who love you are going to warn you about that. I mean, if you think it's love that people don't mention it to you, and because you want to be part of this fat acceptance movement and you think people should accept you as being fat, that's not love. That means that they hate you and they get something out of you being fat, because they're leading you to your own death if you keep going down that road. So the people who actually take the time to warn you and tell you, hey, you're going down the wrong path, you're damaging yourself, you're hurting yourself, and you're hurting other people, those are the people that love you.
That's awesome. That is so true. I mean, I say it all the time. Like, because when I was fat, I was also very muscular. Like I probably lost about 20 pounds of lean mass too in my cut down, because like I was big. Like I'm 10 McDoubles powerlifter big, right? And nobody said shit to me about my weight. Like my wife would be like, I really want you to be healthy. But people like in general, and I was on YouTube at the time, like, and like almost nobody called me fat, because I could squat like 550 pounds. Almost nobody mentioned it, right? But I was fat, like holding my breath to tie my shoes fat, right? And people say shit about my appearance way more now than they did before. But I just wish, to me, it's like people should have like, I almost wish like people would be like, listen, fat ass, lose weight, because like, you know, the omission of it is even bad. Yet alone the societal lie of like, oh no, you're fine. Like anybody that would ever tell, like that happened a few times, be like, oh, you're fine because you work out. No, motherfucker, I'm not fine. You know, like, and I knew that, like deep down in my head, I knew they were lying. You know, so this person's an actual fucking liar. This person is such a coward that they will lie to my face, likely knowing that I know it's a lie, just so they don't have to be the one to say I should lose weight to my face, right? And that to me is where society's at. With this fatness. It's like, well, no, we need to celebrate our plus size models. What is there to fucking celebrate?
Nothing.
Like, I mean, like, I don't understand the celebration of it. What the fuck is there to celebrate? This person's gluttoning themselves to death. Like, how is that celebratory? You know, I just find it very weird. Hey, here's one for you. I might think. I went to a bariatric surgeon when I was 330 at 6'1". I remember looking around the room and saw 600-pound people around me. I joined a gym the next day. That shouldn't have been an option for me. I mean, it depends. You know, 330 pounds. 330 pounds as a woman, that could get out of hand pretty fucking quick. You know?
Yeah, your BMI probably could have been as big as mine at being, you know, almost 700 pounds, or you know, that of an 800-pound person. You said you're 6'1", so you're taller than me because I'm 6 foot. So, different strokes for different folks. I guess some people just get to a point where they are at a worse state. If you can go to the gym and lose weight, perfectly fine. Go do that. If you're at a state where I was, where both my knees were blown out and I couldn't walk a few feet, I couldn't even go to the freaking bathroom. And I talked about in one of my videos that when I, you know, did number 2 in the bathroom, I couldn't even wipe myself. I had to put a towel down and shimmy on it to get myself clean. Like, how am I going to go to the gym when I'm that big?
Yeah. Right.
I couldn't even walk 5 feet. So,
right.
You know, to me, surgery was the option. I could have.
Oh, absolutely. I when over 600 pounds, I mean, it's not like you haven't tried before, you know? Yeah. I mean, and by the way, Awkward Amazon, congratulations on the weight loss. So, and there's nothing fun about not being able to walk around the block. There's no, I mean, it's this prison. But so listen, I try to keep these about an hour. I've had a very, very, very good time. I would like to offer that. I would love to come on your channel for you at some point in time too. But and the next time, and I would like to have you on again. I'm going to do like a round table at some point in time. Of like all the weight loss channels, like have like a bunch of people, but I also would have you back on again, and then we would be able to broadcast to yours. But tell people where they can find you, and then I got some yard work I got to get done. So.
Yeah, please join me at Big T Bariatric on YouTube. We're a growing channel. We just hit over 7,000. I'm trying to get to that 10,000 mark. So I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook. And if you want to email me, it's bigtbariatric@gmail.com. And, you know, we could chat, or if you want to come on my channel, or if you have suggestions for videos and stuff like that, I'd appreciate that.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you joining me on a Saturday morning. And I hope you best success. You know how to get a hold of me. So if you have any questions or you need anything, you let me know. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are out.